Welcome back to Off the Court. This week's guest is somebody super special. You've probably seen her on the sidelines. She's a North Carolina native, and she was part of the pack from 82 to 86. And I'm super excited to be able to talk to her in this fashion. It's kind of like a Freaky Friday situation because she's usually the one asking me questions. Please help me welcome Debbie Antonelli. Hi, Debbie. How are you doing?
What is up, Ace? Thank you so much for picking me as one of your guests. I love it.
Of course, I had to get you back. You always are putting me on the hot seat, so I have to have a chance to do the same.
Well, let's see if we can handle it, right? Because, you're lucky that I didn't have the three-point line when I played, because if I did, you might have been trying to break one of my three-point shooting records.
I'm sure of it. Actually, we're going to get to that later on. But before we get into all of the nitty-gritty of the basketball, what have you been doing to stay busy in quarantine?
Well, I've got three boys, so it's pretty busy at my house. So I've been cooking 3 meals almost, well, 2 for sure a day. And I'm like a short order cook, so whatever they want, I'll make as long as we have it. But the grocery bill, a lot of time in the grocery store, a lot of yard work. I am on 5 nonprofit boards, so I have responsibility there. I've got some camps. I'm watching film. I actually finished a book this week. So, I've got lots of stuff going on. I certainly haven't been bored, and it has been very busy.
Wow, that's super productive. I'm like, if I make it through 1 book or 2 books this quarantine, I'm pretty happy with it. But, and you golf, obviously. Have you been able to get out golfing?
Oh yeah, I'm a huge golfer. I'm a big fan of the sport. I love to play. It's my second favorite sport. And I have been playing a little bit. So a couple times a week I get out there, and I usually go in the evenings because I can zip through and play 9 really quickly.
Yeah. And you have your 3 boys. Is it really hectic in the house? Are you having to how's the cleaning situation with 3 boys, honestly?
Yeah. So, around here, everybody has responsibility. So sometimes I let them pick what they want to do. But just recently I was like doorknobs and baseboards. Okay, let's flip a coin. Who gets what? So even the crappy jobs like that, but all my guys know how to do the regular cleaning, and they're expected to do their part.
I know you keep a tight ship over there. There's no way you let it run crazy.
Yeah. It's like a frat house here most of the time, though, Ace, without a lot of girls. But, with the COVID, not many people have been here. So we've shut it down.
Are you the only girl in the house?
Oh, yeah. It's
Are
not
you
like
the only girl in the house?
I am, but it's not like the queen bee situation. It's quite the opposite. It's kind of like being we're around 4 men and a tomboy chasing on them all the time.
It's really funny because my dad's the opposite. He's the only guy, minus our male cat, but he's the only guy, and he just feels like he's constantly being triple teamed by us. We're always on his case. So that's really funny. I know you probably can keep up with them. I've seen you. You're always on the go.
Yeah, we don't sit still very much around here. We got a lot going on. So we stay busy and try to be productive. I'm just trying to get 1% better every day, Ace. Just 1%.
Moving on into the basketball stuff. Okay, NC State. You grew up in the area, and I've definitely heard the story of why you chose NC State, but I know some of our fans would love to know. So why was it that you ultimately chose NC State?
Well, it was Coach Yow. When I was in middle school, I started going to the games, and I was sitting on the railing at Reynolds right across from the bench. And I'd sit on that railing. I'd watch these great teams in the late 70s, early 80s that were some of her best teams. They were number 1 in the country in 1980, I believe. And so I'm watching these women. It was the first time that I realized that these women could play college basketball and that you could actually get a scholarship to play. So at that point, when I was in about 8th grade, is when I decided that that's what I wanted to do. And so I just made my focus about trying to figure out how I could make myself good enough that Coach Yow would pick me. And fortunately, she did. And so I got to play. And when I did go to NC State, there were a lot of people that said, she's too slow, she's too small, she's not strong enough. A lot of people probably wouldn't believe this, or maybe they would, that when I was a freshman, we had never lifted weights in high school. I could barely bench the bar, 45 pounds, when I went to NC State. I thought she was going to redshirt me, but fortunately, I could shoot it, and I think that kept me alive. And I didn't play much my freshman year, but my next 3 years, I started at the 2-guard.
Wow. And coaches love shooters. As long as the ball goes in the hoop, you're getting on the floor, right?
Well, my claim is that I'm the best non-stat starter in NC State history, 3 years of starting, very few stats, but I think players like that have a value, and certainly Coach Yow thought I did.
Yeah, and I guess for you, there was no other option other than NC State. That was where you wanted to go from the beginning.
Well, I was recruited by almost every school in the state of North Carolina, and it did come down to, for me, my decision between North Carolina and NC State. But I had been to Coach Yow's camps, and I had watched and studied her, and I really thought that she was the person that I wanted to be around and wanted to learn from, and not sure where I was going to go with my career, not sure what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to play basketball at NC State, and it was the premier program in the area. And NC State just had more resources than other people had at that time, believe it or not. So I was very fortunate that she picked me, and it was, I had a 30-plus year relationship with her, and I wish everyone would have that with their coach, because when you get older and you get more mature and wiser, you understand why they did some of the things that they did, and you're better for it in the long run.
Yeah, and I mean, what was it like playing for Coach Yow? Because I never had any real knowledge of her, because I'm obviously pretty young in grand scheme of things. So what was it like playing for Coach Yow? I mean, her name's on the court, her statues are around campus. She's a huge part of everything we do at NC State even now. So what was that influence over your game, being able to develop underneath her?
Well, I think she was just a remarkable person first, and she treated us as people, and she wanted us to understand the value of treating everybody with fairness and with respect. And then, she developed us as basketball players. I learned a lot from her about the game. If you actually look in the back, right back here, this picture right here,
yeah,
this hung in her office when I was a player. It was a picture that was in her office, and I bought it so I could put it in mine. And
wow.
I see it every day that I'm home, and it's from my time with my teammates, the pictures that are taken of her, and they're just awesome pictures. But I learned a lot from her, and I've had incredible opportunity and platform to share what her legacy is all about. And so I feel very fortunate, and in my position, I get to speak a lot on behalf of the former players that did get to play for her. And I think that's a really important responsibility for me, and I take that very seriously.
Okay, we have a question about that from one of our fans. Michael Bullard wants to know, what was the best life lesson that she taught you?
Oh, I think, I think about a lot of the advice that I'd gotten from Coach Yow, and she helped me in every phase of my life. I mean, I had a relationship with her as a middle schooler, to somebody that went to her camps, and then obviously being recruited and playing for her. And she didn't want me. She told me no. And then I had a chance to go. I had papers from North Carolina to sign to go take my scholarship in North Carolina. And then she came back and said, no, how recruiting goes. They thought they were getting somebody else, and that person told them no. And so now they came back, and now they wanted me. And I was kind of like, wait a second now. I don't know. I'm not so sure you didn't want me. Or you really want me? But I really wanted to go there. But I think one of the best pieces of advice, and I've gotten a lot of pieces of advice, but one that I want to share today would be, when I graduated and I was going on to grad school and I was going to be a graduate assistant coach, one of the things she said to me before I left was, we do things one way here at NC State. There's lots of ways to do things, so don't be closed-minded about how other people do things. We've done it one way, and it's successful for us, but there's lots of other ways, so keep your mind open. And I think back about her saying that to me, because I probably was thinking, here I am, I think I'm so smart, and I started for 3 years in the ACC, and I'm going on to coach at Ohio University, and I'm probably going to look like I know it all. I know what I'm talking about, and I probably didn't know what I was talking about. I think she saved me from a lot of humble and embarrassing situations by telling me then to keep your mind and your heart open and listen and learn. Keep your mouth shut, and it worked, because I've done that. It's been a great practice for me, and it's helped me have a 33-year in the game calling games on the air.
I mean, that's really awesome that you did that, because that's something like, as right now, I'm starting to go out into the world, that I am learning very quickly. Like, I might have known a lot in where I was, but I definitely am not up to par in the real world yet. And like learning to ask the right questions and being okay not knowing the answers, that's something that like I'm really learning right now. So that's awesome that you brought that up, because I think that is definitely a lesson everybody who's transitioning into something bigger, new, needs to think about, because we all get caught up in, oh, well, we're knowledgeable, we know what we can do, and there's not always just one right answer. So I really love that. I think that like is really relevant to what I'm dealing with right now. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we were all there at one point, Ace. You know what? I got kids your age. You know, you just want your kids to make the right choices, you know, and don't be closed-minded, especially today. You know,
Yeah,
you
and
got
it's
to
all
really,
a learning experience.
all important, treating people the way you want to be treated.
For sure. And so you mentioned the 3-point line. I think the 3-point line was introduced in your, like, the NCAA started to adopt it your senior year, right?
No, I missed it. I completely missed it. And you know what else, Ace? My first 2 years, we played with the men's ball, and then the women's ball came in. And so we played with, you know, I don't want to call it the small ball, the women's ball, right? The size 6 ball, or the 28.5, you know, ounce ball. That's what we played with. So I played 2 with a big, 2 with a small. And the smaller ball actually helped me at that time, because as I said, I was not a, you know, by the time I graduated, I was bench pressing 100 pounds. I will have to say that. So it took me a long time to get there, but I wish we had the 3-point line, because I wasn't a driver or a slasher. I mean, if I cut through the middle, I got chucked every time. I was a shooter. I was a spacer. I was somebody that threw it in there and relocated. You know what I'm talking about, Ace?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
So a question from Greg Clemens is, how would your game have changed? Would you have been shooting a lot more threes?
Oh gosh, yes, I would have. I think that was my range. You know, the ACC had an experimental 3-point line in on the men's side when I was in college. And that 3-point line was well inside the top of the key. So you might remember Terry Gannon as one of the great shooters at NC State that played on the men's side. I mean, he's out there shooting shots from inside the 3-point line, or inside the top of the arc, and it counts as a 3. I definitely would have had a lot of threes, and so would some of my teammates.
Oh my goodness, you guys would have been scoring machines.
I mean, it would have just created more space. I think it would have made me a better driver, because the closeout would have had to been shorter, you know, and I would have been to get to the paint, drop it in there and slash. I could see my whole world changing with the 3-point line.
Yeah, and I would have been coming after your record. I might not even got there with if it was that close.
Oh no, Ace, you're such a good player. You know what? This should be about you and your emotions after that game in the ACC tournament, and you know how much fun you were to watch for not only NC State fans but all basketball fans that can appreciate how much you worked on your game and moved to the point, how much that added to NC State's success. I'm proud of you, because I know, you know, when you get to be in my position and you've been around the game as long as I have, and you watch freshmen come in and watch them not just mature their games, but mature as people, you can definitely see that you had a full, wonderful experience at NC State, and I'm happy for you, because that's the way I feel about my time there as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, you were like a big part of everything. I think all of my like big time memories of games, you were there. So
I might be your lucky charm, Ace. I could be your lucky charm. I mean, there have been players that think that.
Can I take you to Switzerland with me?
Yeah.
You want to come?
I do.
All right. Come out there. I'll ask for an extra room in my apartment. We'll just get you in there. Then you don't have to cook and deal with your boys anymore. You'll just be my like personal travel partner.
Perfect. I'll do it.
Okay. And then the last question, this one made me laugh because I wasn't even really thinking about, but it's from Beth Duckenberger. And she wants to know about the mullet.
You know what? Shame on Beth Dunkenberger even asking that question, because everyone wore a mullet. Nobody wore a ponytail. In my day, you didn't have to worry about your hair. You know, you just wiped it off and you kept playing. And yeah, some of my best shots, I thought I looked pretty good with that mullet.
Should we bring it back? I mean, I think my hair's a little bit long for that, but I think, could we bring it back? Do you think that's what the next step in style is?
I don't think so. I don't think anybody that was in my time would want to bring that back. I can't see that happening. I think people want the ponytail. I'm good with a ponytail. I like it. It's very athletic looking.
Yeah, I don't think I could part with my hair. I've been growing, like, I mean, it's quarantine, so I've been growing it out, but like I'm slightly attached to it now, I think.
This is the longest my hair has been since I was a little girl. I haven't had a haircut since sometime in January, and my patients have been pretty good about keeping it. I'm going to see how much longer I can go before I got to really start messing with it, and then I'm not going to deal with it.
And then you can sport the ponytail, and it can be a nice long ponytail.
Exactly.
Well, okay, so after NC State, I mean, I had a lot of fun, like, researching some of the stuff that you did afterwards, and, like, your journey to broadcasting. Like you said, you went to Ohio State. How did that journey kind of play out? It was a little bit different. You didn't head straight into, like, broadcasting. You did director of marketing after your, if I'm correct, after your time as a student coach.
Yep. Well, after grad school at Ohio University, I went to the University of Kentucky, and I spent 4 years there. And I was the first director of marketing in the athletic department. If anybody is watching, saw the ESPN production of Eddie, about Coach Eddie Sutton, I was at Kentucky his final year at UK. I was 23, and it was an incredible learning experience because there was so much lockdown and so much controversy about that season and about some of the scandal about the money opening up on the conveyor belt and all that stuff. So, if you watched Eddie, then you'd see that I was there for part of that and experienced a lot of that at UK that final year. And then I spent 4 years at Kentucky, and while I was there, that's when I did my first game in November of 1988. I was 23, and my boss said, "You want to call this game?" And I was like, "Really?" It's just like everything I had thought it would be, besides dealing with the players, the prep, the practice, the study, the film. And then because I'm a golfer, when you hit that sweet 9-iron stick it on the flag, that's kind of the way, you might have one shot around, but when you do that and you broadcast, that was when I realized that, you know what, I'm on this path to be an athletic director because that's what I thought I was going to do. And I still love the game. So to be able to call games while working on being an AD, my personality was about marketing and fundraising and selling, and I thought that's where my skill set would go to be an athletic director. And so after 4 years at Kentucky, I went to Ohio State. When I got to Ohio State women's basketball was very good. Katie Smith was the #1 recruit in the country, and she was coming in as a freshman. So my 4 years at Ohio State coincided with Katie's 4. And so I went to the local cable company and I said, "Can you produce sports?" And they said, "We don't know." I said, "Well, figure it out. If you want to come, tell me what it would cost to produce 8 women's basketball games." And I got the 8 games, the package. The price was like back then, and I don't know if you could do this today because, television industry has changed so much in this time, but I got like $50,000 was the cost to produce 8 women's basketball games. So I went out as the director of marketing at Ohio State. I sold the packages so that I could put those games on. And then that package lasted for my 4 years that I was there. And I think it continued to go on when I left. It was great. It allowed us to have women's basketball on television. Nobody had a package like that. Nobody was doing anything like that back then. The other thing that is really interesting that people that care about marketing and promotions and about things being fair and equal. When I was at Ohio State, they had Ohio State football's king, and they had a major, huge statewide, region-wide radio network for football. So if you wanted to be a syndicated affiliate of Ohio State football, back then in the early 90s, you had to take half the men's basketball games and call those games on radio. You could pick whatever games you wanted, but you were required to take half of Ohio State men's basketball. Nothing about the women. So even Ohio State men's basketball didn't have 100% coverage across the state every night or every time they played, because the affiliates that carried football could pick and choose what half the schedule they wanted. And so I went in there and said, wait a second, that's not right. I'm the director of marketing. I'm responsible for 31 sports. I've got all the external rights for all of our sports, all the signage, all the corporate sponsorship. We did have some people we outsourced back then for our coaches shows, but I went to our syndicator and said, hey, you got to carry half the women also. And so everybody agreed because Ohio State women were good. So if you wanted football, you took half men and half the women's schedule. And that's how Ohio State had a statewide syndicated radio package. No one had anything like that. So I was able to take my passion and love for the game combined with my skill set as a director of marketing and somebody who could sell and put a package together and create the inventory that was necessary to be able to sell those things and really launch Ohio State women's basketball from a marketing and promotion standpoint. And at the same time, though, Ace, it kept me on that parallel track between being an athletic director and getting a chance to stay in broadcasting. And so I was on that parallel track for 8 years, just trying to figure out which one. Am I going to be an AD? And then we had our first son, and Joey was born in '95, and that's when I decided that I really love basketball. I really want to give this TV thing a full-time go, and so 33 years later, here something I never even dreamed would be an opportunity for me. It came available because I really worked it, really sold it, really networked it, and had a great passion and vision for what I wanted to do.
I mean, that's amazing that you personally facilitated the development of women's game in the media's eye. That's so amazing. I mean, I had no idea that you had done that, and hearing that story, and there was a little bit of it on your Wikipedia page, but hearing that story is absolutely amazing, especially with what's going on with women starting to fight a little bit more for an equal share.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really inspiring that you were able to do that.
So who would have ever believed from humble beginnings at NC State, wearing shoes like these would lead
something really funny?
Would lead me to this incredible, these are high tops, Ace. You see these?
You want to know something really funny? My very first basketball shoe were Converse Weapons.
Did you paint them?
No, I had the black and green Larry Bird editions.
Okay, so these are what we used to wear, and I have saved these. I have a box of stuff. I'm doing a little show and tell for a minute, if you will.
Sure, take it away.
We switched over to Pro Keds. These are 3/4, okay? People wear low cuts or high tops. Most of the people watching won't have any idea what I'm talking about, 3/4. Here's a high top, here's a 3/4. See the difference? I convinced Coach Yow that I would be faster, quicker, better if she let me wear the 3/4 instead of the high tops. And she finally said, you know what? Okay.
Were you faster and quicker?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I was so much faster. This was our practice gear. This shirt, short sleeve, we wore underneath are reversible. Because, you have to change teams, right? You got red or white.
Yeah.
So you wore a t-shirt and then you wore this. And then if we needed to change teams, we reversed. That's what we did. Okay, because we didn't have sports bras. They didn't exist.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. The other thing is we thought we were the best looking team on campus, and we traveled like we are all-stars. I have white pants to match. Pro Keds,
I actually love that.
White. Debbie M, because we had another Debbie, we had a freshman. Debbie Bertrand was a freshman. I was a senior. Pro Keds, baby. I've got this gear, and I love it. I think the next time I'm at NC State, I might just show up with this gear on.
I think you should. I actually love that jacket.
You do?
I do. I love it.
Well, maybe I'll let you borrow it. What about the name?
I would gladly wear your name around. I would do it.
This is my jersey. How about that?
Beautiful.
You didn't tuck these in, Ace. And you wore your bra underneath, and you didn't wear anything else underneath. This is what you wore. And it's heavy, it's thick.
It looks like it.
But I've got a box of tricks right here. I've got so many things in here. We don't have time to look at all of them, but those are just a few highlights, except for one more thing I got to show you. One more. This truly was a difference between me being a starter or sitting on the bench.
I can't wait to see
my bedroom for years. The art of shooting. And
that is amazing.
How about that?
That is amazing.
I thought you would find it interesting.
That's so awesome. I want that framed on my wall. That's awesome.
Someday when you're around, I'll show you all this stuff. How about this one? Just one more. Instant quickness. I mean, if you do these drills, you will instantly be faster. And I 100% believed it. And you see this toss back right here?
Yep.
Did you guys use the toss back a lot in practice?
I don't think we ever did. I think it just sat in the corner.
We used it in 1982. And I know NC State's watching, so we had these portable tossbacks that were in Reynolds Coliseum, and Coach Yow said, if you want to borrow one for the summer, you are welcome to borrow it. Well, I borrowed it, and I never brought it back, and I used it, and I still use it. I've replaced the guts in it one time. It's in my garage right now. So when I get out there with my dish or my tossback, I mean, I'm working. So I don't know what these kids are doing all summer complaining about they don't have a goal or they don't have a place to work out, or you can be creative. And at my age, I'm still shooting it.
I heard about that. I mean, with what is the 24 hours of nothing but net?
Thank you for bringing that up. See this right here? That's my man, Frankie. Flat Frankie traveled with me all year, Ace. I couldn't take a picture with you because I was afraid it would be against NCAA rules. So most people know I have 3 boys. My middle son has Down syndrome. He's a rising senior at Clemson in the Clemson Life program. I have a strong affiliation for Special Olympics, obviously. My son, Frankie, competed in multiple sports. He's a multiple gold medal winner. I'm a unified partner. I've participated in many sports with him. He's the athlete. I'm the unified partner. It's really fun. If anyone has a chance to get involved in Special Olympics, they should. When I was in college, we actually did a clinic, and I remember doing the clinic, ironically. But 24 hours nothing but net is a 24-hour free throw shooting marathon. I started last year. I was in a gym. I spent the night in the gym. We were able to raise $85,000, and I shot 94% for 24 hours.
Wow.
This year, because of COVID-19, I did the fundraiser in my driveway. So I was in the driveway from noon on a Saturday till noon on a Sunday. I did not sleep. Every hour I make 100 free throws on the top of the hour. So at the end of 24 hours, I've made 2,400. This year, I shot 89%. Now, only I was really disappointed in that, but we raised over $125,000 for Special Olympics. So in 2 years, we've raised $210,000 for Special Olympic athletes. Like families like mine, like my son, like the resources go directly to the state of South Carolina. And I couldn't be more proud. It's one of the best things I've ever done. It's one of the best ideas I've ever had. And it requires a lot of fitness and training. So I'll just share one exercise I did with you because I believe I would earn your respect with this drill. Okay. It was a free throw burpee routine. 10 sets, 25 makes. every time I every time I shoot a free throw, I got to do a burpee. And so I was doing the burpees on the thing that hangs on your door handle. You can do pull-ups on.
Uh-huh.
So I wasn't going all the way down to the ground because it was bothering my wrist and I didn't want to lose this. So 10 sets, 25 makes. If I miss, I still have to do the burpee. So I was doing that for the last 3 weeks leading in, and I was doing all kinds of training to get ready. So this is no joke, like thinking that I'm just going to wing it and go out in my driveway and try to shoot, make 2,400 free throws. I'm working at it. It was 24-hour. We had YouTube channel that it covered the whole 24 hours. We had special guests on there. We had a lot of people donate. And during this time, from my driveway, I couldn't be more pleased. And it's an event that we're going to keep doing. We're going to keep doing this event, and I'm going to keep trying to expand it to other states. So I'm looking for shooters that live in other states that have a connection to Special Olympics, that want to do the same thing I'm doing at the same time. I think we can raise a lot of money for Special Olympics. And the torch was burning in my front yard for 24 hours. It was awesome.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, I would love to be a part of that.
I'd love to have you. I mean, do you think you can beat my 94% in the gym?
I mean, 94?
You better. You better. You have a lot of pressure on you. You got to. Come on, I'm like getting
if I have to shoot it outside, can I have 90%?
Well, 89 is what I shot outside, and that's, the elements did play a role. Sun, wind, crickets,
Yeah,
lights.
The crickets are the fans. They were chirping at you.
Yeah. It was
Forgive
fun.
me for that pun.
And you know what? My Dr. Dish was a big help. When I turned 50, that's what I wanted for my birthday, was a Dr. Dish shooting machine. I don't know any other 50-year-old women that asked for that, but I didn't want a Trip or Jewels or Pearls or anything like that. I just wanted a Dr. Dish shooting machine.
A shooter through and through.
You got to love it, right? I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love what I get to do.
I mean, I think we can all see that. You're one of, it's awesome being able to listen to you because you're so passionate. But one of probably the most fun games we were able to call, and something we definitely have to cover before we get off of here, is this year's ACC tournament. You were there. You were calling the championship game. Was it hard to be impartial?
I think I say this, and I think everyone understands this. Everyone knows that I love NC State and I love Coach Yow. So I don't hide that. I don't try to pretend that that's not true. Every coach in the ACC knows that. When I was leaving the arena the night before, one of my producers, Amy Rosenfeld, came over to me and said, "Hey, will you MC the trophy presentation?" And I said, "Sure, I'll be glad to do it. No problem." Yeah. She's like, "Are you good?" I said, "Yeah." It didn't dawn on me at all that I could be doing the trophy presentation and you guys could be winning it or not winning it until there was about 5 minutes left in the game. And then I think it sort of hit me because I didn't really think about it. I was so focused on the game, and the game was so good, so well played. Florida State, I've watched it a couple times. What a hard loss, the way they lost. Sue Semrau has not won the title yet. She's so close. NC State hasn't won in 29 years. It's been so long. It's exciting, because, I have a special connection with NC State because I'm a former player, but I have connections with all players across the ACC. And I think it's because I respect the work ethic, and I know how hard it is to cut down the nets. And when somebody gets a chance to do that, I think it's always my favorite part and very emotional. And it doesn't matter who it is, whatever team. And I'm not sitting on the fence on this. I mean, if Sue Semrau was listening, she would understand, but I didn't slight Florida State in the least. I would never do that to any team. And what we do is very subjective. So I'm sure that there were people out there that thought, no matter what game I do, people think I'm a homer for this or that, or I like this team better than another. I have great respect for the game. And so when you see me and I walk in the gym, I want every coach and every player, when they see me, to think these three things and know these are true, that I am going to be prepared, I'm going to have fun, and I will be fair. And that's it. And if you know that, then that's fine. And it's subjective. So of course people are going to have opinions, but to see up close how proud Wes was, to remember right before you guys went out to stretch that you had said to me, Wes has aged 10 years and 3 days, on this tournament. And to know Wes the way I know him and how hard he works and how much he wants to win, and to watch not just you guys, but any team, come together at the end the way you did. And Florida State did the same thing. They came together. Just a couple of plays that just didn't go their way. And you had a lot to do with it. That big three that you hit definitely swung the momentum of the whole thing. And you deserve to be MVP of that tournament.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Well, what was going through your head in those final seconds, like when it dawned on you that NC State was about to win?
I was just proud. Proud of the players, proud for Wes, knowing how many former players are in the stands. NC State, we have a uniqueness and a special bond because Coach Yow was there for so long, and there were so many of us that got a chance to play for her. So whether you were on her first teams in the mid-'70s or on her teams until 2009, we all share similar stories, similar feelings, similar love. It's an unconditional love for her. And so when you see former players, and you'll know what I'm talking about in about 5 or 10 years when you come back to the ACC tournament, and you see Gina Beasley sitting there in the front row and so proud of what NC State does, and so proud that to see these strong, powerful young women getting a chance to do what they love at a high level and competing at the highest level. It's very gratifying. And when right now, I do a weekly Zoom with some of my teammates, and every once in a while we invite a guest speaker in. And when we invite a guest in, it is full of stories, and we all have similar stories about things we thought we got away with, or stories that we thought that she didn't know about, things that happened during our time. But you'll know what I mean. It's gratifying to see, and I was very proud that NC State got a chance to do that.
I mean, I can definitely feel that just from being at NC State. I mean, you meet all of the former players. They're always at the games. We have usually that Kay Yow luncheon that we go and we see everybody. So, I mean, you definitely feel that connection with everybody, even from people you have never met before, and you're meeting them for the first time. And I know that that's something that coming to NC State, you don't really know is going to be a benefit. But definitely it's going to carry through. And I mean, just like my relationship with you and some of the other alumni who I've been able to meet over my time, that's family. And that's probably one of the biggest takeaways from my experience at NC State. So it's awesome that you are able to have that connection with them and do that call, because I do the same thing with my teammates still who are even there right now. So I definitely understand that. I mean, and then before we finish up, I have one last question, and I think this is something that everybody wants to hear, and it's from Maria Santor, and she wants to know, what is your advice for an incoming freshman?
It's a new and different world that we're attempting to survive in right now, right? With COVID-19. I think what I usually say to freshmen is, and I say this to most college kids, and I'm saying this to my youngest son, who will be a D3 point guard at Emory and Henry, which is in the ODAC, Old Dominion Athletic Conference in Emory, Virginia. And he's stepping into a wonderful place with a wonderful leadership and a real care and concern for family. I say, don't try to prove too much, just try to improve. And if you can just do these 3 things and do them to the best of your ability, you will be fine. Work hard in your academics, work hard in your workouts and practice, and be a good citizen. I think if you do those 3 things and take care of your business and don't try to prove anything, go in with an open mind and an open heart trying to improve, then there's no way you can't have success. Because if you're willing to do those 3 things, then you're going to have a positive attitude. You're going to have the right etiquette about learning. You're gonna thrive, and NC State provides every resource that could possibly be available for you to be successful. So, and that's every university in the ACC really, and SEC or Power 5 for sure. I mean, the resources that student athletes have available to them right now are really immeasurable, and it's a great time to be able to play the sport you love.
For sure. I mean, experienced it firsthand, both of us. So that's wonderful advice. And hopefully we have all of our freshmen getting onto campus in this week and our transfers. So I think hopefully that's something that they can really apply into their life going forward. Well, Debbie, thank you so much. It was so much fun being able to catch up with you again. And, you know, I get your number because I've graduated now, so
Yep.
I will be able to get in touch with you whenever. But thank you again so much for joining us.
Ace, you are a wonderful representative and ambassador for NC State and for women's basketball, and NC State fans are lucky to get to watch you for 4 years. So thank you for including me in your program, and thanks for picking me as one of your guests, and I wish you the best of luck. I can't wait to see what's next for you.
Thank you. And before we sign off, we have our Wolfpack Prize Pack winner. And this winner this week is Nathan Jones. So the media team will be in touch with you about getting that to you. But congratulations and thank you again.
Congrats, Nathan.